Balance Fam, it's Alyssa. So in today's foundations class, we are going to work on this idea of setting your focus. At a time like now, it's really easy to be called and pulled in 100 different directions, especially if you're still working, if you're working remotely or taking on responsibilities that are not normally part of your job. It can be really difficult to set your focus. So with this practice, the idea is to identify and set your focus so that you're able to rise up out of that and remain and become strong. So this idea comes from being able to develop our concentrated attention. And in our yoga practice, there's a Sanskrit word called drishti. And with our drishti, it's when you set your eyes, when you set your sights on one thing, and everything else around it is like in a vignette, right? Everything else around it has a fuzz to it, because the thing that you're focusing on is crystal clear. And we traditionally use that on our mat for our balancing poses, which we're going to do one of today. A way to develop this practice, this intention out of your yoga practice is perhaps doing what's known as a candle guiding meditation. So it's basically setting yourself up in a meditation, lighting a candle in your eyesight, and then maintaining that gaze at the candle and focusing and concentrating on the candle itself. You can do this with a picture, you can do this with really anything. I really just like the idea of using a candle. So let's go ahead and get started today. So nice and tall. You'll also need either 2 blocks or 2 books. As always, I like my Harry Potters. They're the right size. So nice and tall in the spine. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Hands can rest at your sides, on your thighs, or in your lap. And take a big breath in and an open mouth sigh. And allow your eyes to close. So take a moment here to acknowledge that in our home practice, there will likely be distraction. A child, a pet, a spouse, a neighbor. And again, our focus. Our goal today is that focus. So as you take the next few breaths, allow the noises and the external distraction to start to narrow in. So that perhaps we're bringing our attention just to the mat. And then bring the palms of the hands together. Bring the thumb knuckles up to our third eye, our Agya chakra. Or just that center of sight and intuition. Let the thumbs gently rest in that space, reinforcing this idea of focus. And then as you take your next inhale, sweep the arms up overhead, separate the hands, perhaps look up at the fingers. Right hand floats down, left arm reaches up and over, stretch through the side waist, maybe look underneath the armpit. Big breath in. As you exhale, can you hinge any further, allowing the left hip to stay attached to the floor? And then inhale, sweep both arms up overhead, opposite side. Left hand floats down, right arm comes up and over. And then again, if we're looking up, we're looking under the armpit, not over the shoulder. And as we exhale, can you reach any further, but allow the right hip to maintain its contact with the floor. And then as we inhale, sweep both arms up overhead, palms of the hands together, thumb knuckles down to that forehead center. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, hinge from the hips as far forward as you can. Let the pinky edge of the hand come down to the floor. Press into the forearms, reach the crown of the head forward. It's almost like a mini halfway lift. If we can't get to the forearms to the floor, hands to the floor is excellent. Another option is to have the forearms on your book or your block. Feel those hips open up. And then as you inhale, roll the spine all the way up, sitting nice and tall. Drop the chin down towards the chest. Now from this stance, lift the spine nice and tall. Keep the collarbone lifted, but allow the head to get heavy. And then as you take your next inhale, roll your left ear towards your left shoulder. And it's as if you're trying to listen to your shoulder. Or as if back in the day, you were like holding your phone with your shoulder. And then drop the chin towards the chest. Opposite side, right ear, right shoulder. So again, let that left shoulder be heavy. And then exhale, drop the chin down towards the chest. Inhale, lift the head. And we're going to either roll over crossed ankles or swing them around out to the side. We're going to come to our tabletop position. So from our tabletop position, knees stacked directly underneath the hip sockets, wrists and elbows directly underneath shoulders. Drop the head and make sure your heels and calves disappear behind your thighs. Lift the crown of the head forward and the back of the head up. And as we do that, lift the belly button towards the spine. And just doing that, pressing the hands into the floor, pressing the shins into the floor, lifting the belly towards the spine, reaching the head forward. Everything in center line should be a little bit more active. Get the shoulders away from the ears. Take a long breath in. And as you take your next exhale, tuck the pelvis under, round the spine, drop the crown of the head into our cat. And then tip the pelvis forward, arching the back into our cow. And then move gently through your cats and your cows. Let the spine open up. Find some gentleness there. And then after this next rounded back cat, find that same length in your tabletop position. So in table, we're reaching the crown of the head forward and the back of the head up. So the ears come in line with the shoulders, but the shoulders are away from the ears. And just that action, we should feel the hands, the arms get a little bit more active. Press the right shin firmly into the floor, lift the left leg straight back behind you, flex the foot, rotate the toes so that they're pointing straight down at the earth. The heel is the same height as the knee and the hip. And press firmly into that right shin so that we're not dropping out to the right hand side. And if this feels like your challenge, stay here. Otherwise, reach the right hand forward. Plug the shoulder into the socket. Lift the bicep so it's the same height as the ear. Full breath in. And then we're going to take ourselves out to the side to a wobbly airplane. So turn the right palm to face the floor. Right hand comes out to the side. Same height as the shoulder. Toes continue to be pointed at the floor as we open the left leg out to the side. Ooh. Everybody feel that oblique catch? Bring everything back to center line. Knee down, hand down, child's pose. Big toes together, knees wide, so sit back into your balasana, forehead comes down to the floor. So we can rest here and allow the backs of the hands to rest into the floor, feel the shoulders relax. Or we can be more active and let the fingers be tented and the forearms hover off the floor. This is your choice. So pick what feels right for you. And then as you take your next inhale, roll yourself back up into that tabletop position. Knees come back underneath the hips. Once again, shoulders away from the ears, spine nice and long. Lift the belly towards the spine. Pressing the left shin into the floor this time, right leg goes straight back behind us. So rotate those toes down so that the heel, the knee, and the hip are at the same height. If the toes are slightly turned out, we have a tendency to lift the leg a little higher. Can we keep everything plugged in and engaged? Lifting the belly towards the spine, pressing the right hand into the floor, reach the left arm forward. Thumb up, pinky down, like you're going to shake somebody's hand. Lift the belly up. Right? So if we start to feel some pinching in the lower back, it's a tendency sometimes for us to collapse in the spine. So stay lifted and strong. Turn the left palm towards the floor, take it out to the side into that wonky airplane. Right leg comes out to the side. Keep the toes pointing towards the floor. Feel those obliques. Keep breathing. Find some steadiness. And then bring everything back into center line. Lower the knee, lower the hand, and find your Balasana, child's pose. So just because you were active before doesn't mean that you have to be active here. So find your version of child's pose that's the most comfortable for you and fits for you. Take a full breath in and an open mouth exhale. As you take your next inhale, lift yourself up into that tabletop position. Tuck the toes under. Press the hands into the floor, shoulders away from the ears. Hover the knees off the floor. Ooh. Feel the quadriceps working. Feel the thighs working. Feel the abdominals lifting up. And then hover the knees a little bit higher. As few steps as you can make it, walk your feet to your hands. This is also a great place to grab your books if you need them. The books or blocks will bring the floor to you. So either bring the hands to the floor or the hands to the books or the blocks. Crown of the head drops forward. So in this Uttanasana forward fold, we're going to press behind the big toe, behind the pinky toe, and into the heels. And as we press down, we're going to lift the hips a little higher. Feel that lovely stretch in the back of the leg. Halfway lift, if our hamstrings are particularly cranky, hands come to the shins or the thighs as we reach the crown of the head forward. Exhale, drop the crown of the head down. All right, so soften the knees, hands in touch with the feet, the floor or the blocks. I'm going to use the book so you can see what that looks like. So we've got my hands on the blocks of the floor. Pick up the right foot, step it all the way back to the end of the mat. So we're going to kind of dissect Warrior Two here. So our first step is to have the left knee directly stacked on top of the left ankle. The right heel is going to melt down, and as soon as you do that, that left hip opens up. That's exactly what we want to have happen. But at the same time, pull the left hip forward and the right hip back. And use that pull to lift yourself up to standing. Bring the hands to the hips. All right, we're not going to worry about the hands right now. So take a peek at that front leg, and we want to, again, have the left knee and ankle stacked. And as I look down my inner thigh, I want to see the inside, the instep of my left foot. A lot of times the knee starts to fall in. Can we think about lifting that leg out? So the depth of this stance is completely up to you and should be driven by the length of your stance. So if you want to sink the hips lower, heel toe that right foot a little lower as you sink the hips so that the left knee can stay on top of the left ankle. Left inner thigh saying some words, right inner thigh saying some words. Press into the pinky toe edge of that right foot. Take a breath in, sink a little bit lower. Lift up on the lower belly, find some length in the lower back. Tall. Take your peace fingers, push these little floaty ribs back 1/2 inch. That's going to keep that length in the belly and the back. Hands on the hips and stay. I know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Don't focus on the burning in the left leg. Okay, focus on it a little bit. Take a breath in. And then as you exhale, hinge from the hips forward, bring the hands to the floor or the blocks, pop up on that right heel, right foot steps forward to meet the left, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. You know there's two sides. Soften the knees, hands in touch with the blocks of the floor. Left foot steps all the way back. All right, so sink the hips down first and get that right knee over right ankle. Allow the left heel to melt, that left hip to lift. Kind of pulling the right hip forward and the left hip up and back helps us rise up. So remember, the length of our stance is determines our depth in this pose. So take a peek at that right knee directly on top of the right ankle. Hips are even, belly is lifted, back is long. Right. Take a couple of breaths here. Take a peek through that right inner thigh. Can I see the instep of my right foot? And if not, think about guiding that right knee out. Feel everything on the outside of the right leg fire when you do that. Keep your breath. Grow long and tall through the spine. Take those peace fingers, pull those floaty ribs in. Take a full breath in. And then as you exhale, pop up onto that left heel, cartwheel the hands down, find the blocks, left foot steps forward to meet the right. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold it down. Nicely done. All right. So we're going to repeat. This time, use your muscle memory to help yourself get there. So inhale once again, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Hands in touch with the books or the floor. Step the right foot all the way back to the end of the mat. Allow your right heel to melt. Open the hips to the right-hand side of the mat. Use that squaring of the hips to the side of the mat to lift you up. Ears, shoulders, hips. So you know what to do in your lower body, so go there. Perfect, right? We're checking, we're checking, we're checking. Lifting, ribs in, ears, shoulders, hips. Right? Very different than this. Keep everything stacked there. Take a full breath in and a long breath out. And then pop that right heel up, hands come down to the floor, right foot steps forward to meet the left. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Stepping back with that left leg. So left leg steps all the way back to the end of the mat. Drop the heel down. Rise up. All right, so think on this side. What did I need to do differently? What changes from my left-hand side to the right-hand side? What is easier? What is harder? Where does my focus, again, that word, that magical word, where does my focus need to be on this side? Because, again, your left and your right are going to be different. Maintain some of that strength. Relax the shoulders. And then pop that left heel up, hinge forward, hands in touch with the blocks of the floor, left foot steps forward to meet the right. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Soften the knees, roll all the way up to standing. Once you get there, roll the shoulders a few times. So from this stance, take an inhale and open the arms out to the sides, just into a T. Relax the shoulders. Turn the palms of the hands up. Oh, shoulder blades relax a little bit. More down the back. Keep them there. Flip the palms back over. Take a couple of breaths. Memorize what this feels like. As always, there's a method. Relax the shoulders. Turn the palms up. Have the shoulder blades stay relaxed. Turn the palms back over. Take one more breath in. And then relax the arms down. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, dive it forward. Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Soften the knees. Hands in touch with the books or the floor. Right foot steps all the way back to the end of the mat. Remember, focus on everything that you already know about the lower body. Right heel melts. Lifting yourself up. Cartwheeling yourself up if that feels right. Rediscovering everything you needed to know about the lower body. And then bring the hands to heart center. Forehead, heart, hips stacked. And then remember what that felt like to reach the arms out with no effort, right? There was no effort as we stood, so let that be the same amount of effort here, reaching the arms front to back. The shoulders are relaxed. The arms are soft, but intentional. And here's where focus comes in. Take your gaze over the left hand and focus on that left middle finger nail. So the story of Virabhadra, the demon that this pose is named after, is that once he rose out of the ground, he then set his aim. Set your focus here. And let the focus be on softening the shoulders and embracing the strength in your legs rather than, oh my God, get me out of this pose, right? Yeah, keep that there. Intention, focus. Take a breath in, and as we exhale, cartwheel the hands down, step the right foot forward to meet the left. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, soften the knees, hands in touch with the books or the floor, left foot steps all the way back, left heel melts. Don't worry about the arms, lift yourself up. And set your, no pun intended, foundation. Right? So nice and strong, get that knee and that ankle beautifully stacked, the spine nice and long. Relax the shoulders, and it's just this gentle lift. Right? When we have the stability in the legs, when we have the strength in the torso, this is icing. This is just icing on the cake. And then look forward, gaze over that right middle finger. Shoulder relaxed so that the neck can easily turn and gaze at that middle finger. Take one more big breath in. And then as we exhale, pop that left heel up, bring the hands down to the floor, left foot steps forward to meet the right. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Soften the knees. Inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, bring the hands into heart center. Pause. Take a full breath in and an open mouth sigh. Bring the thumb knuckles up to our third eye. Let that focus happen here. Feel your brain working. Feel the intention of focus. Take a breath in. One more time, open mouth, exhale, sigh. Release the hands down. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, dive it forward. One last round. Inhale, halfway lift. Focusing on everything that you've just learned. Bring the hands in touch with the floor. Right foot steps all the way back to the end of the mat and find your Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. So because we're focusing on it, we're not thinking about it. We're letting it happen. So focus on your form. Pick one or two things that you wanted to strengthen in this pose, that you wanted to lengthen in this pose, that you wanted to hold in this pose. Yeah. Beautiful. I'm always reminded in our yoga practice that even though Einstein's definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result, in yoga, sometimes it's perfectly normal to do the same thing over and over and over again and expect a different result. Take one more breath in, and then as we exhale, cartwheel the hands down, right heel pops up, right foot steps forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, hands in touch with the floor, left foot steps all the way back. Left heel melts down. Find your Warrior 2. Yeah. Find it and be in the pose. Be fully focused on your alignment, on your breath, on the feeling of muscle hugging bone. Find that strength and ease. that balance of strength and ease that comes with finding focus. Take a breath in. Open mouth, sigh. Yeah. On your next exhale, cartwheel the hands down to the floor. Left foot steps forward to meet the right. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Move the blocks or the books out of the way. Heel toe the feet as wide as the mat. Taking your peace fingers, hook into the big toes. Inhale, halfway lift, but you're stuck because your fingers are underneath your big toes. And then as you exhale, elbows come out to the side. Drop the crown of the head down. So as we're tugging gently on the toes, let the shoulders come down the back. Let the neck grow longer. Let the head be heavy. Take a few gentle breaths here. Long breath in. Soften the knees. Roll yourself all the way up to standing, releasing the toes. Standing nice and tall. So as promised, our balance. So somewhere in front of you, find something that you can focus on that's not moving, right? So maybe it's where the ceiling and the wall meet, or maybe it's something that's up on the wall or a mantle, but find that thing and focus on it. And before we move, set your focus so intently on this thing that everything else around it is a blur, is in that vignette. And then firmly press the right foot into the ground. Peel the left heel off the floor. Big toe on the floor. Left heel to the inside of the right ankle. So perhaps we stay there. Bring the hands either to the hips or to heart center. Press firmly down into that right leg and lift that right hip so that the hips are square and even. And then from that space, either we stay here or drag that foot to the calf, skipping the knee, coming to the inner thigh. If we're in the inner thigh, let the foot press into the inner thigh, but the inner thigh press back. Find that gaze point. Focus. Shoulders down the back. Thigh into foot, foot into thigh. If you want to take some fun arm variations, feel free. Breathe. And if you fall out of your tree pose, know that's part of the journey. Right? It's the getting back up. That's the part. That's the work. And then on your next exhale, release that foot. Let it come down to the ground. Pick up that right ankle, point and flex the foot, draw some circles. Find your mountain pose, find Tadasana, nice and tall. And then press firmly down into that left foot and allow the right heel to hit the left ankle. Press into the foot and lift the hips, right? So we're not popping that hip out to the side. Hands stay at the hips or at heart center, nice and tall. And then stay there or slide that right foot to the calf or bring it to the inner thigh. Press the foot into the thigh into the foot, and stand tall. Breathe. Again, watch that standing leg. Let the leg and the foot resist to find that lift up and in to keep your posture nice and tall. And as all of that happens, when the core is engaged, we can easily move the arms as our tree branches flow. Or just find stillness. Take a long breath in. And then with control, release the foot. Bring it back down to the floor. Pick up that standing leg, point and flex. Release that ankle. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, hinge it forward. Inhale, halfway lift. exhale, fold. Soften the knees, hands in touch with the floor. Walk yourself back to table. From table, move through a few rounds of cat-cow. And then as you feel ready, I really like the blocks for this. We're gonna sink back into child's pose. If you want a little bit of a deeper stretch, now that your heart is a little bit more open, big toes together, knees wide, hands on the blocks or the books, and then let the head come towards the floor. You want a little extra work, turn the pinkies into the blocks or the books, and then melt forward. Feel that. Lots of opening in the chest. Lots of opening in the shoulders. Perhaps resting the forehead on the floor. So keep the breath steady and even. And then release the hands. Lift yourself up. Swing the legs around or through. We're going to want to have that block or that book nearby. So walk yourself down so the feet are at the top of the mat, hands behind the thighs or reaching forward, spine nice and long, breath in. Exhale, roll yourself all the way down, letting the back of the body rest into the floor. From there, walk the heels in towards the glutes. Bring the right knee in towards the chest, holding behind the thigh, and then extend that right leg straight. So we're holding anywhere behind the thigh or perhaps even the calf. Option to stay there or begin to extend the left leg straight. Allow the back of the leg to press into the floor. If that's not comfortable for your back, keep the sole of the left foot on the floor. Wherever you are, take a breath in, and as you exhale, peel head, neck, and shoulders. Maybe walk the hands up another inch. Keep the hands where they are, and then melt back down to the floor. Find a gentle flex in the foot to really get into the hamstring in the back of the leg. Slide the left foot in if you have it extended. Release the right knee into the chest, and then into the floor. And then same thing, opposite side. So bring the left knee into the chest. Hold behind the thigh, extend that leg straight up. This is my not so comfy side. Everyone's got a not so comfy side. And then either stay there or slide that right heel out. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, walk the hands up an inch or two as we lift the head, neck, and shoulders off the floor. Can we keep the hands there as we lower ourselves back down? Ooh. Did I mention this was my less comfy side? And then slide the right heel in. Bring the left knee into the chest. And then slowly release that left foot. Walk the feet as wide as the mat. Hands can relax at your sides or on your belly. Tick-tock the knees from side to side. Just resetting the spine. So if you have wall space, the way that we'll end class today is legs up the wall. But in this space, I don't have that. So that's where the blocks or the books are going to come in handy. So bring the knees back to center, heel toe the feet in. If you've got wall space, begin to bring yourself up to that wall and lift the legs up that wall. Or grabbing onto your book or block, lift the hips up into the air, slide that book underneath the back of the pelvis. So we want it at the back of the pelvis, not in the lower back and not on the glutes. It's that sweet spot in between. And then bring the knees into the chest. So from here, you may also want to kind of tuck the shoulders slightly under, backs of the arms rest into the floor. Knees come in again towards the chest. And then as you feel ready, extend the legs up into the air. And this is it. Now, if this is not comfortable for your back, feel free to come back down to the ground and find your traditional Shavasana or some other resting pose of your choice. It's really easy in home practice to cut yourself short. So give yourself the time here today. Staying here as long as you choose. When you're ready, sliding the feet either down the wall or into the chest. Bring the soles of the feet to the floor, lifting the hips, moving the book out of the way. And then rolling over onto your right-hand side, bicep as a pillow. Rest there as long as you choose. And when you feel ready, lift yourself back up. Coming to sitting, bringing the palms of the hands together. Take a full breath in and an open mouth sigh. Bringing the thumb knuckles up to your third eye. To the place of intention and focus. Thank you so much for being here with yourself and me this morning. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.